Members, the House and Committee resumes its consideration of the South Taranaki District Council Coal Creek Rural Water Supply Bill. Members, before the dinner break, the committee was debating clauses 1 and 2, parts 1 to 3 and schedules 1 and 2. The Honourable Annette King had the call and she has 1 minute 20 seconds remaining if she wishes. I call Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Pleased to take a short call on the South Taranaki District Council Coal Creek Rural Water Supply Bill. At the first reading, the Green Party supported the bill's referral to Select Committee. But when we did that, we signalled our view about the importance of safeguarding water in public ownership and our concern about any erosion of that. We also signalled that we had quite significant concerns about the very low level of consultation with tangata whenua undertaken by the South Taranaki District Council, and we look forward to those concerns being allayed by further information from the bill's sponsor, the Honourable Chester Borrows, or by submissions to Select Committee. But, Mr Chair, what we heard at Select Committee from submitters exacerbated rather than allayed those concerns. And that's why the Green Party is opposing the bill, because it enables the privatisation of significant water infrastructure and because it potentially continues more than a century of injustice to Taranaki iwi. Now, as the Honourable Annette King noted, the bill itself doesn't privatise the infrastructure, but it provides the mechanism to do that. And I think, Mr Chair, it's worth noting that the scheme itself doesn't supply water. It is nature that does that. It's thanks to the water cycle, to the rain, to the seepage, and then the slope of Mount Taranaki and the evaporation that we get the water cycle and that we get the water that the scheme is then able to deliver. So it's very generously provided by nature. And we don't support the bill's divestment of the Coal Creek water supply because on principle we believe that significant community assets should stay in public ownership and be managed to deliver benefits to the wider community and not just the users of the scheme. And it was never very clear to me through the submission process, nor listening carefully to the bill's sponsor, what the rationale was for privatisation. Certainly the Council had given some commitments some time ago that the scheme could be divested, but the actual rationale for that is still unclear to me. The Honourable Annette King talked about tidying up, but just what is it in the way that the scheme has been operated to date that is so problematic? And Mr Chair, Labor members in particular will be very aware of the Local Government Act 2002 and the quite explicit provisions in that Act in section 130 that create a strong barrier to privatisation of water infrastructure. And those provisions were inserted for a reason, to protect these assets in public ownership. And nor was it clear from submissions as to just what is the exchange of value that would occur if the scheme was privatised. Would the Coal Creek Water Supply Company be paying for the scheme, or would it be privatised for a peppercorn and the scheme shareholders get the substantial benefits of the construction of the scheme, which was made possible, as we know, by quite a substantial Crown grant through the Ministry of Works of $1.28 million. That Crown grant paid for half the construction cost. The scheme wouldn't have gone ahead if it hadn't been for that. Certainly, Mr Chair, there has been a sizable investment by users of the scheme, both financially and in work to operate the scheme. But it seems to me it has been very much a partnership between those using it and the Council. Because as the Department of Internal Affairs noted in its report, there were quite significant amounts of staff time and council resources that were devoted to the scheme in the 1980s. And that support was in terms of providing meeting administration support, organising the levies, the contributions, the financial reporting, and it was the county engineer and other staff who managed and supervised the scheme's construction when it was first built. So it's only been in the 2001 that the water supply company took over the day-to-day operations. But even then, Mr Chair, it's been the council which has continued to treat the water and has charged out its services for doing that at what the, Mr Chair, what the department says were very friendly rates and lower than market rates. So, Mr Chair, it has been one of partnership. And Mr O'Connor talked about an $8 million cost for doing more works to upgrade the scheme, but it's unclear to me as to why the company would be wanting to take over that potential cost if there were not substantial private benefits from owning the scheme. It's not being run as an irrigation scheme at the moment, but we know that water is the new gold and that there is the potential to do that in a drying climate and then deliver quite substantial benefits to private users. So that's one reason we're opposing it, the privatisation. The other is the concerns that iwi have raised, and the scheme's privatisation potentially reduces the rental return to Maori landholders who have leases in perpetuity over their land in the scheme area, because it's the leaseholders who would own the scheme, not the landowners. So that whole privatisation process may in fact reduce the value of the land for those Maori owners, and it's the concerns that we've heard from a number of iwi and the Taranaki iwi group about the inadequate consultation and how their interests have not been adequately recognised. So, Mr Chair, we will be supporting the Supplementary Order Paper 178, which is in Andrew Williams's name, and because that would ensure that the referendum was open to all of the residents of South Taranaki, and that was, and as in our view, a much more democratic option, and it would help recognise that there was significant public funding involved in the construction of the scheme. And also, it's important, Mr Chair, because when the Council talked about the divestment in its long-term plan, it didn't do that in enough detail for people to be really aware of what was going on. So the referendum is an option to make sure that the whole of the district community can have their say. But that would be a slight improvement to the bill, but because of those concerns about iwi interests and the fact that it would set in train the mechanism to privatise the scheme, the Green Party will be voting against it, the bill.
Members, we move to the vote. The question is a Part 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. If you want a party vote, you must ask for a party vote. Just by voting no doesn't mean it's a party vote. Does a member wish to have a party vote? A party vote? I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Part 1 will stand part. We move to Part 2, but first we have amendments in the name of Andrew Williams to Part 2 regarding eligibility to vote in the referendum as set out on SOP number 179. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. No. The noes have it. Noes have it. Party votes called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 in favour.
New Zealand First.
Favour.
Māori Party.
Opposed.
Mana.
1 in favour.
Act New Zealand.
1 opposed.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
A point of order, Andrew Williams.
Could we have clarification, Mr Chairman, that the National Party have confirmation from the Maori Party that that is the correct way they wish to vote?
Order, Mr Chairman.
Speaking to the point of order, Jamie Lee
Mr
Ross.
Chairman, we have general proxies, I understand, for any SOPs that they haven't otherwise advised the National Party about.
Well, I'll hear from Andrew Williams.
Point of order, Mr Chairman, you heard the tone of the debate. The Maori Party certainly was not in support of this. If they have not had proper confirmation, it would be wrong that they would vote in that manner without having that proper confirmation.
Yes, well, look, I hear what the member says, and I was certainly here for the whole of this debate, so I understand the point the member's making. I have to take the word of the whip. If the whip wants to confer as to the correct position, then I'll ask the senior government whip to recast his vote. So does the... No? All right. Point of order, the Honourable...
Mr Speaker, I just happened to have arrive on my email a release by the Maori Party saying they has opposed the South Taranaki District Council bill in Parliament today.
I know, yes. I thank the member. I know, and I was... Order. We're talking about, at this stage, we're talking about the SOP. All right? We're not talking about the Part 2. We're talking... Hang on. We've done Part 1. We're talking about the SOP in the name of Andrew Williams. That's what the vote's about. Now, I've heard the argument. I was here during the whole debate, so I know what the member is in his first point of order is the point he's making. However, I am in the hands of the whips, and the whips have the authority to cast a vote. If it is wrong, the record can be corrected at a later date, but at this stage, it's not for me to determine the parties' votes. It's up to the whips of the parties. So at this stage, we have... well, I have actually...
no, just, Mr Chairman...
Andrew Williams, point of order.
Point of order, Mr Chairman. You did raise the fact that you'd heard from the whip, but I don't think you've heard from the senior whip. Could the senior whip confirm?
Oh, no, that's... No, look, in the... within parties, the authority between whips is up to them, and it doesn't matter whom casts that vote. So I'm going to declare the vote on the amendment. The ayes are 56, the noes are 63. The amendment is not agreed to. The question then is that Part 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Noes, and a party vote's called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
10 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Part 2 will stand part. The question is that Part 3 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So, party vote's called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Part 3 will stand part. The question now is that Schedule 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Action New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Schedule 1 will stand part. The question now is that Schedule 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Action New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Schedule 2 will stand part. The question now is that Clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Action New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Clause 1 will stand part. The question is that Clause 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 opposed.
Māori Party.
2 opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Action New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 95, the noes are 24. Clause 2 will stand part. Members, I will report this bill without amendment.
The House is resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the South Taranaki District Council Coal Creek Rural Water Supply Bill and reports it without amendment. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
Question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. This bill is set down for further consideration and... This bill is set down for third reading next sitting day. Call on private and local order of the day number 3.
Tasman Council, Validation, Recovery of Certain Rates Bill, first reading.
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Bill be now read a first time. Mr Speaker, I nominate that the Local Government and Environment Committee consider